The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. By Mark Manson. This summary is brought to you by Hook My Book. In this book, the author talks about how we should stop caring about what doesn't matter in our lives and should focus on what does matter. He suggests that it is not the pursuit of happiness that makes us happy, but how we deal with the negative experiences that life throws at us. Manson believes that self-help books and modern society are obsessed with the idea that we are all unique. This idea has created a society of entitled people who expect everything to go right for them all the time. Entitlement is feeling as though you deserve to be happy without sacrificing for it. Self-improvement and success often go hand in hand, but that doesn't mean they're the same thing. Conventional life advice often focuses on what you lack instead of what you already have. Learning to focus on what's important and true will help you live a happier and more successful life. The feedback loop from hell is when you keep getting anxious about being anxious, and then you become even more anxious about your anxiety, and so on. It's a cycle that can be hard to break out of. Remember, everything worthwhile in life is won through surmounting the associated negative experience. Any attempt to escape the negative, to avoid it or quash it or silence it, only backfires. The avoidance of suffering is a form of suffering. The avoidance of struggle is a struggle. The denial of failure is a failure. Hiding what is shameful is itself a form of shame. Pain is an inextricable thread in the fabric of life, and to tear it out is not only impossible but destructive. Attempting to tear it out unravels everything else with it. To try to avoid pain is to give too many fucks about pain. In contrast, if you're able to not give a fuck about the pain, you become unstoppable. The author says that when you don't give a fuck, you can stare down life's most difficult challenges and still take action. Quitting your day job, moving to a foreign country, and starting your own business are all examples of someone who did not give a fuck and still accomplished amazing things. The author talks about how someone who does not give a fuck can be different from other people and be admired. People who do not give a fuck are comfortable in their skin and do not care what other people think of them. They are not indifferent, and they do not try to be indifferent. They are willing to face adversity and failure and to do what is right even if it means being an embarrassment to other people. If you want to not give a fuck about adversity, you must first give a fuck about something more important. The author says that if you find yourself giving too many fucks about trivial things, you don't have much going on in your life to give a legitimate fuck about. Maturity is the state of being able to give fewer fucks. He also says that when we are young, everything is new and exciting, but as we get older, we realize that most of these things have a little lasting impact. We learn to be selective about the fucks we give. Happiness is a problem. Happiness is not a solvable equation. Dissatisfaction and unease are inherent parts of human nature and, as we'll see, necessary components to creating consistent happiness. Trying to avoid or suppress these feelings won't make them go away, in fact, it'll only make them worse. We suffer for the simple reason that suffering is biologically useful. It is nature's preferred agent for inspiring change. We have evolved to always live with a certain degree of dissatisfaction and insecurity because it's the mildly dissatisfied and insecure creature that's going to do the most work to innovate and survive. We are wired to become dissatisfied with whatever we have and satisfied with only what we do not have. This constant dissatisfaction has kept our species fighting and striving, building and conquering. So no, our own pain and misery aren't a bug of human evolution, they're a feature. Pain is what teaches us what to pay attention to when we're young or careless. It helps show us what's good for us versus what's bad for us. It helps us understand and adhere to our own limitations. It teaches us to not fuck around near hot stoves or stick metal objects into electrical sockets. Therefore, it's not always beneficial to avoid pain and seek pleasure, since pain can, at times, be life or death important to our well-being. People often try to avoid or solve problems unsuccessfully. This can lead to problems such as neuroticism, anger, and emotional repression. To be happy, one needs to solve problems. Unfortunately, most people don't do this successfully. Emotions are part of the equation of our lives, but not the entire equation. Just because something feels good doesn't mean it is good. Just because something feels bad doesn't mean it is bad. Emotions are merely signposts, suggestions that our neurobiology gives us, not commandments. Therefore, we shouldn't always trust our own emotions. Our emotions never last, so we're always chasing something new and exciting that will eventually disappoint us. Our emotions are also always tied to our biology and need something more to be happy, so we never really experience true happiness. You are not special. High self-esteem is good for society. The author believes that self-esteem should not be measured by how positively people feel about themselves, but rather by how people feel about their negative experiences. Entitled people, who feel as though they deserve good things without actually earning them, are incapable of improving their lives in any lasting or meaningful way. It's strange that in an age when we are more connected than ever, entitlement seems to be at an all-time high. Something about recent technology seems to allow our insecurities to run amok like never before. The more freedom we're given to express ourselves, the more we want to be free of having to deal with anyone who may disagree with us or upset us. The more exposed we are to opposing viewpoints, the more we seem to get upset that those other viewpoints exist. The easier and more problem-free our lives become, the more we seem to feel entitled for them to get even better. The benefits of the internet and social media are unquestionably fantastic. In many ways, this is the best time in history to be alive. But perhaps these technologies are having some unintended social side effects. Perhaps these same technologies that have liberated and educated so many are simultaneously enabling people's sense of entitlement more than ever before. Most people are average at most things, but it is the extremes, such as being a genius at one thing, that get all the attention in the media. Because we are all average most of the time, we are constantly bombarded with information from the extremes, which makes us feel insecure and desperate. We cope by either self-aggrandizing or other-aggrandizing. Technology has solved old economic problems by giving us new psychological problems. The internet has not just open-sourced information, it has also open-sourced insecurity, self-doubt, and shame. A lot of people are afraid to accept mediocrity because they believe that if they accept it, they'll never achieve anything, never improve, and that their life won't matter. This sort of thinking is dangerous. Once you accept the premise that life is worthwhile only if it is truly notable and great, then you accept the fact that most of the human population, including yourself, sucks and is worthless. And this mindset can quickly turn dangerous, to both yourself and others. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not that great at all. It's anti-entitlement. People who become great at something become great because they understand that they're not already great, they are mediocre, they are average, and that they could be so much better. The value of suffering. In 1944, Japan was losing the war. Second Lieutenant Hiro Onoda and his 3 comrades were sent to the small island of Lubang in the Philippines to hide and fight to the death. For 5 years, they fought guerrilla warfare against the U.S. forces and the local population. Eventually, the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki and Japan surrendered. However, thousands of Japanese soldiers still remained scattered throughout the Pacific Islands, and most, like Onoda, were still hiding in the jungle, unaware that the war was over. In 1972, Onoda was found and the army convinced him to come out of the jungle and surrender. When he came home, he found that Japan had changed dramatically. Japan had become a consumerist, capitalist country, and the traditions of honor and sacrifice that his generation had been raised on were gone. Onoda tried to use his celebrity to promote the values of old Japan, but he was misunderstood and unappreciated. In 1980, he left Japan for Brazil, where he remained until he died in 2007. In the jungle, Hiro Onoda chose to suffer for loyalty to a dead empire. His suffering meant something, it fulfilled some greater cause. And because it meant something, he was able to endure it, or perhaps even enjoy it. If suffering is inevitable, if our problems in life are unavoidable, then the question we should be asking is not, how do I stop suffering, but, why am I suffering, for what purpose? Self-awareness is the ability to understand and express your emotions accurately, as well as ask why you feel a certain way. It's also important to identify your values and how they influence your emotions. Finally, it's important to ask yourself difficult questions that force you to look deeper into your motivations. People often measure their worth based on things such as material success, being always right, and staying positive. These values are not sufficient for a happy and fulfilling life. People who focus on these values often end up unhappy and stressed. It's important to have values that are meaningful to you. Some values are based on reality, like honesty, while others are not based on reality, like popularity. Bad values are based on external factors, like flying in a private jet, and often have harmful consequences. Values are about prioritizing and choosing what is most important to you. You are wrong about everything. The author reflects on his own life and how he has been wrong about many things throughout it. He believes that personal growth is an endlessly iterative process in which we gradually become less wrong about our lives. Different people will come to different conclusions about what is right for them, because everyone experiences life differently. There is no correct ideology, dogma, or way of life because everyone's experience is imperfect. Imagine how people 500 years from now will laugh at us and our certainties today. They will laugh at how we let our money and our jobs define our lives. They will laugh at how we were afraid to show appreciation for those who matter to us most, yet heaped praise on public figures who didn't deserve anything. They will laugh at our rituals and superstitions, our worries and our wars. They will gawk at our cruelty. They will study our art and argue over our history. They will understand truths about us of which none of us is yet aware. And they, too, will be wrong. Just less wrong than we were. Our mind is constantly generating new associations to understand and control the environment. Everything we experience, both external and internal, generates new associations and connections within our minds. These thoughts, impulses, and perceptions are composed of thousands of neural connections, firing in unison, and landing in your mind in a blaze of knowledge and understanding. But there are two problems with this. First, the brain is imperfect and mistakes things we see and hear. Second, once we create meaning for ourselves, our brains are biased towards the meaning our minds have created. Most of our beliefs are wrong or less wrong than others but are still inaccurate. Buddhism teaches that there is no you, that you are an arbitrary construct and that you should let go of the idea that you exist. This approach to life has psychological benefits, such as being free from self-absorption and narcissism. This often means giving up some grandiose ideas about yourself, that you're uniquely intelligent, or spectacularly talented, or intimidatingly attractive, or especially victimized in ways other people could never imagine. This means giving up your sense of entitlement and your belief that you're somehow owed something by this world. This means giving up the supply of emotional highs that you've been sustaining yourself on for years. Like a junkie giving up the needle, you're going to go through withdrawal when you start giving these things up. But you'll come out the other side so much better. Failure is the way forward. Many people, when they feel some form of pain or anger or sadness, drop everything and attend to numbing out whatever they're feeling. Their goal is to get back to feeling good again as quickly as possible, even if that means substances or deluding themselves or returning to their shitty values. Learn to sustain the pain you've chosen. When you choose a new value, you are choosing to introduce a new form of pain into your life. Relish it. Savor it. Welcome it with open arms. Then act despite it. The importance of saying no. In Russia, most people are honest and straightforward. This can be difficult for Westerners, who are used to polite conversation and hiding their feelings. As the author learns, this type of communication is necessary for trust in Russian society. However, in the free West, where people have a lot of economic opportunities, it has become more valuable to present oneself in a certain way, even if it is false. This loss of trust has led to a decline in intimacy and a decreased ability to trust others. Our culture today confuses great attention and great success, assuming them to be the same thing. But they are not. You are great already. Whether you realize it or not. Whether anybody else realizes it or not. And it's not because you launched an iPhone app, or finished school a year early, or bought yourself a sweet-ass boat. These things do not define greatness. You are already great because, in the face of endless confusion and certain death, you continue to choose what to give a fuck about and what not to. This mere fact, this simple optioning for your own values in life, already makes you beautiful, already makes you successful, and already makes you loved. Even if you don't realize it. Even if you're sleeping in a gutter and starving. End of the summary. Thanks for listening.